regimen to keep this avatar at 225 pounds again. Everything's calculated mathematically. Thank you guys for coming again. This is the second day here in Lindsay, Arizona. The reason I wanted to do it on Saturday as well was to give those who didn't have a chance to take the day off yesterday, to give you guys, a chance to come and get your book signed and get to meet me and get this lecture. So, where can I start? We are living in the most exciting times ever in the history, not only of the Earth, but in the entire history of the multiverse. And the reason I say that is because what happens here is going to affect every probable scenario, every timeline, both going into the future and into the past, because we are at the hub of all existence at this time. And that's why this is the greatest times ever to be living in the face of the entire universe. And that explains why at this time, many interdimensional, extra-dimensional beings from different realms and different levels of reality are all here witnessing how this huge event is going to transpire. Not only are they here to witness this transformation in human consciousness that is going to alter the entire scenario across the multiverse, but most importantly, they're here because they're also assisting us from behind the scenes. Now, I do want to make one distinction between those that are promoting this, alien, what they call the God Savior alien agenda, where they are making it seem like we're going to be saved by, extraterrestrials, and that is not the case. That is part of what they call the false light. The truth of the matter is that we are the disclosure. It's not going to happen externally. It's not going to come from the sky. The prophesied return of the gods and goddesses, according to the original oracles, never stated that the gods and goddesses were going to return from the sky on their ships, or the sky people would return. What they did say was that at the end of the cycle, that a new set of gods and goddesses would emerge from the already existing human race, which means that they're already here. They're us. They are the starseed nations, the people who have volunteered to come into this lower dimension in order to help the Earth, restore herself back into the fifth dimensional reality. So the truth is that we are the disclosure. It's not going to happen externally. It first happens when we activate, and due to the stellar activation cycle that we are now in, I'm sure most of you guys know the 25,600 year cycle, right? Every 26,000 years, we go into the photon belt where, limited consciousness heights into full consciousness. We go from a dark age into a golden age. Well, we are days away from that. And as soon as that happens, that's when we are going to finally be reinstated back into the galactic and cosmic communities, as we were during the times of Atlantis, before we were, taken further down into densities. So that's what's going to be happening, is we are the disclosure. After we transform, after the solar flash, which is going to be triggered by our own inner work, by the way. It's a two-way process. First it happens internally with the collapsing of the chakras, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, collapsing back into the singular white light, right? And when we do so, when that happens, we are going to have access to every version of ourselves, every aspect of ourselves that is currently fragmentalized in all these different realities, parallel universes, and dimensions. All that stuff is coming back into alignment as one solid, what they call the conversion of dimensions, the singularity. That's what's going to be happening. And when that happens, it's not like we're going to, oh, hi aliens. No, the aliens, the galactic, intergalactic, stellar, galactic communities have always been here. They're all around us. We just don't see them because they're operating on a different dimension. And so some people ask me, well, Ishmael, are we going to, is the new Earth going to be a different planet? Are we going to be relocated? No, that's not the case. We're staying here. We're actually anchoring in the new Earth. We're bringing in higher dimensional spheres of reality, and we're anchoring them, into this Earth. We're bringing in what we call the celestial spheres, and we're integrating them with the physical world of matter. We're spiritualizing matter. That's what we're doing. And so that's what this whole thing is about, the great event, the great, shift of the ages into the age of Aquarius. And then as a result of that, we're all going to come to find out that these advanced civilizations have been coexisting with us, operating from the same space at the same time, but in a different dimension. So stellar, galactic, interplanetary, universal cosmic societies are all around us, guys. It's just that we are not privy to their dimension, but they are. That's how the dimensions work. The higher you are in dimension, the higher you raise your dimensional conscious awareness, the higher you go up in dimensions, the more you have access to more reality. Unfortunately, due to the fact that we are limited to the third dimension, we only, our perception, our cognition, our experience of life is only a small fraction of what's out there. And I don't mean out there as in the stars. I mean out there all around us. We just don't see it, So, oh yes. Of course, you can ask questions. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not real versed in all of this stuff. I'm just beginning. So when all this happens, will each one of us be aware that it's happening? Or are we just not going to be like someone like me who doesn't know enough? Will I just be in La La Land when everybody else is going there?
We're not going anywhere.
No, we're not going anywhere. No, I understand that. We're going to be right here.
Yes.
But I feel like, are there going to be people like me who don't know enough, and there'll be other people that know so much more?
No. When this dimensional shift takes place, as we go into the fifth dimensional Earth, which is already here, coexisting as planet Terra, everyone's going to have a direct knowledge to their Akashic records. Everyone's going to know who they were, what they are, who they were in past lives. All those memories are going to be rushing into your consciousness. And actually, technically, all those memories are stored deeply in your genetics already. They're blocked, waiting for the right time to, because our DNA is data. It's how we are able to, our DNA is just like crystals. It receives, it's a transmitter and receiver of data. It stores information like a computer. Except the difference between us and a transistor, or between us and a quantum computer, is we are organic, we are biological, and we are connected to an already existing creator, God. Prime creator God, which we call the One. In the cosmic community, we all share the same God. That's the difference between, these other advanced civilizations is us, is that they're not fighting as to their God is better than the other God. They're all under one universal consciousness in the sense where they have respect for universal laws. They all have ethics, they all follow moralities, and most importantly, they respect each other. And that's why harmony and peace exist throughout the multiverse, because everybody respects everybody's opinion. And the beauty of it all is that even though we are all under a one creator, the one creator for all humanity, all human race, all human-like races out there, all different biological specimens who work together as one, they all are also about diversity, and that's the beauty of all this thing, of this whole, living in harmony is keeping the diversity of having that unique individuality. So as we evolve, not only are we going to all become more multidimensional, but we're all going to also come to find out more about who we are in other dimensions, because we are multidimensional beings. We just don't have access to those memories. So again, the key here in the cosmic galactic community is we are all under universal laws and principles. We all follow universal laws and principles to live in harmony and in cooperation, just like the billions of cells do in your body. But at the same time, we honor diversity and individuality. Yeah, it's the one and the many and the one. Do we have any questions?
How did we go from the one to, and I don't know if I'm stating this right, and I don't have the depth of knowledge, but as I understood, it's something that I read, that original sin really equating to separation from God, or dividing us from God, or one. How did that originally happen? Like, why is it then important to have this duality and
That's a
then
very
come,
good question.
and then come back to one again? I imagine an evolution for a soul, I guess.
Well, that actually is a very good question. Okay, in the beginning, before the 15-dimensional time matrix came into being, there was only oneness. And that oneness had no diversity. It was bored. It had nothing to contrast with, nothing to oppose it. So it was just one pure consciousness that was there, stagnant and bored. And in order to explore, and it was already infinite, but it was in a state of boredom. In order to explore more of itself, that one single consciousness decided to begin what I call in my book the divide, the great divide, the descent, the fragmentalization. So first it divided into two, and then the two gave birth to the three, and that's how we get these concepts of the Trinity, the Father, Mother, Child, right? Spirit, mind, body, so on and so forth. And then from that, it divided into the seven mighty Elohim, the seven archangels, the seven chakras, right? From the seven, then it divided into the 12. So despite the fact that we are seeing this oneness dividing into different aspects of itself, each aspect is still like a hologram, contains the whole. It's just in a different angular position. Every time it divides, it becomes a little bit distinct. So that's why diversity is important, because right now we are at the end of that division, that descent, where it's just fully fragmentalized. Does that make sense? And that's why the greatest illusion in reality is that everything is separate. Well, that's also called the involution, the descent of spirit into matter. Yeah, it's the opposite of evolution, or the opposite of the ascension. The ascension is to bring back, to reunite. The involution or descent aspect is to divide and fragmentalize in order to explore more of itself, but it's still part of the whole. So in the sense, or in the case of good and evil, even evil is used as a way for the cosmic mind of the all to expand. It's just temporary. We go into these spaces where the out-breath of God gives us duality, polarity, right? Extreme polarities, contrast, because that's the way it grows. And then it goes back into the in-breath where it becomes one again, and then it repeats again. It expands, and then it contracts. It expands, and that is a process that is probably going to be going on for all time in all eternity, as we are dealing with infinity, guys. There is no end or beginning. Because ultimately, at the highest level, it's just energy expressing itself through the different levels, through the different densities. But even each density is connected to the other densities. It's just matter, or what we call it in quantum physics, it's light energy vibrating at different frequencies. And in that case, there is no such thing as empty space or dark matter or dark energy. It is all around us. It's just reality vibrating at frequencies that even our five senses or scientific instruments couldn't even perceive. But as we begin to use more than 4%, and we begin to use more of a dormant DNA, we're going to be accessing these other dimensions. Yeah.
So when the solar flash comes, you said by hopefully 2024, that's when we'll have access to our Akashic records and our past lives and all that. Is that when?
When this event takes place, that is going to, again, when enough of us do the work and we collapse the polarity, duality, bring it into neutrality, to that singularity, right? It's going to create a, similar to the Maharishi effect, a critical mass effect for the rest of the planet to get it. You know, it's going to open up their minds to that reality. And when that happens, yes, that's when people are going to have access to their own cellular data. Because a lot of that memory, the Akashic records is stored in your DNA. It's just a matter of accessing it.
And isn't the solar flash going to be part of that, or am I mistaken?
That's going to be the trigger that is going to allow us to have access to our memories as to who we are in these other dimensions, as to who we were before we became, stuck in this third dimensional body. Go ahead.
Okay, so how do we activate our DNA? And is it kind of the same thing when we work on ourselves and activate our DNA, that's part of the ripple effect?
Absolutely. Self-work, working with the shadow aspect of yourself, bringing it back into that oneness where there's no more polarity. That is the way we activate our DNA, bringing it back into neutrality. Yeah, because the light and the dark is within us all. So we're bringing it back to that state of, oneness within us.
I have a question.
Yeah.
does it make sense that some of us can remember some of our past lives now?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. People that are waking up, that are going through these episodes of just waking up and getting downloads. Some of these downloads, or even in dreams, you're going to be your past lives are going to be revealed to you. So it's very important to pay attention to your dreams as well as to your downloads as you become more aware and awaken.
I had an experience in my life that when I was younger, and it was the same story that happened in year 500 after Christ. I mean, it's a long story, but it's exactly the same. So I related to that, to one of my past life experience. And it's something very, how can I explain it? Well, it was it made a big impression in my life. So that makes sense, right?
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Do we have any more questions?
Okay, so I had a near-death experience. And when I was kind of in the middle of it, I remember being with beings. I would try to wake myself, I was in a coma, so I would try to wake myself up. And they would say, no, that's not the real world. When you're with us, it's the real world. You're not ready to go back to that world yet. So would that kind of be because this is like a hologram? That maybe...
Yes and no. It's a living simulation as opposed to a cybernetic artificial simulation. Every dimension, including the 5th dimension, all the way to the 12th dimension, I believe. Once we hit the 12th dimension, then we leave the simulation and we go back into base reality, which is equivalent to what quantum physicists call, base reality, the only true reality. But yeah, I mean, I think in the last month, a mathematician just won a Nobel Peace Prize by proving through mathematics that we are living in some sort of hologram, that it is a reflection of a different reality, or an advanced computer video game, perhaps.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
You were talking about downloads and coming through in your dreams, pay attention to your dreams type of thing. For those of us, me specifically, I haven't had or can't remember a dream for quite some time, where there was a time I do remember being able to fly in my dream. And I was very clear and present, knowing, hey, this is weird, this is awkward, how come I'm flying around? This is kind of cool. But then there was a moment in life, and I don't know where that started, where dreaming, I'm not experiencing that. So is there a way to work on that part? Like, I want to dream again, more or less.
Absolutely. And when you dream of doing these things like flying, levitating, moving objects with your mind, you're actually tapping into alternative versions of you that exist in alternative universes where you actually have those abilities. So I would pay very close attention. In fact, I would even invest in getting some sort of a book that interprets dreams for you, just so that you could, and also write down your dreams. Start journaling. It helps to repeat those recurring dreams.
How about activating dreams again? That's the part that I don't feel like I come out of sleep and go, wow, that was an awesome dream, or what was that about? It's really blank and blah. So would you suggest something? I imagine meditation.
Right before you go to sleep, try to see if you can just focus on the things that you would want to dream about or explore in your dreams. Because I believe that it is like the last few things that is occupying your mind, whatever that may be, right before you go from the alpha state into the delta state, which is dream, that is going to influence, your astral travel or your experiences in the other realms. So it's very important to try to, right before you go to sleep, put on some binaural beats, whatever gets you that state of relaxation, so that you can only focus on the things that you want to actually gain more information about through your dreams. Because dreams are powerful if you learn how to, especially once you get to the point where you guys are learning how to lucid dream, and you guys could begin to do a lot of spiritual work in that aspect, in that realm, that will ultimately affect this realm. Go ahead.
Hi, I started dreaming heavily, and it was because I was doing intuitive fasting, and I don't know how you feel about fasting, Ishmael, or if you've ever tried it, but I don't do it often, but fasting for a few days with just water is what helped trigger my dreams. And you read about a lot of philosophers who used to practice with fasting, and that opens you up to the spiritual realms.
Okay.
Oh, yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. I agree with that. Thank
Okay.
you for pointing it out. Fasting, guys, very important. When you fast, you give your spirit the opportunity to take over. And you know, it's a good thing to practice. And yes, I've actually explored it. I used to do intermittent fasting where I wouldn't eat for like 24 hours and then I would just eat a lot.
Right, right.
But I think for best results in terms of what you're saying, is this good to fast maybe a couple days, right? Just liquids?
Yes,
No?
yes,
Okay.
just like a detox, because if
Detox,
you're
okay.
promoting this, I've noticed on social media, they'll be like, oh, this is dangerous information. So look at it as like a nice detox, and to get all of the chemicals that are in our food out of your body so that you just completely realign.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
what
Thank
was
you.
she saying?
I think you understand the question.
Yeah, you can what now, again? Remember things, or what
Yes,
were you saying?
if you fast, if you take 2 days without eating solids, just of course drink water. Your spirit is going to take over eventually. You're going to be having more spiritual experiences, whether it is through dreaming or getting downloads, or having that aha moment of wow, I get it. So go ahead.
I'm gonna try to express this correctly, but as the world is getting so crazy, is it getting crazy because we're getting closer to the solar flash? And it's going to continue to get crazy until the solar flash? That's what's
Absolutely.
causing all of the madness? I don't care if it's political or what have you.
Exactly, yes. Things are going to reach a climatic point before we shift the ages. It always does that, So yeah, things are going to appear as they're getting worse, but it's just because the old paradigm is collapsing in order to usher in a new paradigm.
So the solar flash happens, the paradigm collapses for some and not others?
No, for the
Summary?
collective, eventually for the collective. But it starts with individuals. It starts with those that are already breaking away from the 3D matrix by what? By only, by only consuming things that are good for their bodies, supporting local farmers as opposed to grocery stores, supporting natural healing modalities through herbs and medicine as opposed to the pharmaceutical cartel. Just little things like that. The more we get people, shifting from promoting the conventional way of life to that of a organic or a spiritual way of life, then we're going to see an effect taking place worldwide gradually. It's like a domino effect.
So once this happens, will our bodies be healed as well for those of us who are suffering from chronic illnesses and things like
Oh,
that?
absolutely, yes, exactly. Because we don't need anything outside of ourselves to heal. We have that within our DNA. Yes. That's why I don't believe in using technology to heal. We are going to heal ourselves. We're that powerful. Go ahead.
Can I add a little bit to that?
Sure.
Because right now we're really only accessing 4 strands of our DNA, and we'll be back to our 12-strand DNA, which gives us the full access to all of that within us that we don't have access to right now.
Well, technically, we're still using only 2 strands of DNA.
2?
2 strands, yeah. 10 of them are
See,
currently,
still
they're not fully online yet, but they will. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna piggyback off what you were saying because I had a hard time processing all the chaos in the world. There's chaos and there's order, and that duality is that one of my friends, was saying to me is that like Mother Earth is purging out all that no longer serves her. And so it's coming out through this expression of whatever's happening right now. So you can think about like when you're sick, right? You're throwing up or sweating or whatever the case is. So that's exactly what's happening right now is that it's a purification process. So even though it seems like, you know, on a surface level, like everything's just crazy and out of control, it's actually bringing back the total order, like kind of what Ishmael was saying about breathing in, breathing out, order, chaos, and so we're heading back to that order, you know. So, and that kind of helped me like be okay with, you know, understanding different aspects of what's going on right now.
That's helpful, thank you, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. But I think it kind of affected all of us. It's just like, oh, you know, you just pick up on all these different negative energies, you know. So.
Thank you, I appreciate that. That's so true. For sharing. Go ahead.
I remember in one of your videos hearing you say that when the solar flash occurs, that dark ones will not be able to keep that vibration, so they'll be leaving.
Oh yes, by cosmic universal law, things that are not vibrating at at a certain hertz are not going to be able to withstand their own existence. So by virtue of that, yes, things that are still like dark entities such as archon energy, those are with the cabal people. Those are doing evil things. They're going to be purged. It's going to be like a transmutation where only the righteous, like the gold, gets purified as the wicked become eliminated.
So where will they go?
They become transmuted back to source. They lose their individuality. Yes.
And then, they say you can't have dark without light, a balance of it.
Right.
So I would imagine there's still going to be dark.
There's always going to be that little bit of dark, yes. But that's part of the balance, though. Again, right now we're finishing the end of the dark age in the earth, where dark was prevalent and there was only that little bit of light. And now we're just shifting it from where now light is going to be prevalent with that little bit of darkness.
I like that.
Yeah.
And so there won't be any more SRA on the planet?
SRA?
Satanic ritual abuse.
Oh no, that's part of what's going to be purged in the new heaven on earth, the new kingdom. Yes, it won't be allowed anymore because a new council is being formed right now, a new guardian race that is going to not only protect the new earth, but they're also going to protect the multiverse from this planet. This is where the new kingdom, the new headquarters world for the entire cosmos is going to be established.
The entire cosmos?
The entire cosmos, yeah. That's how important the earth is. Most people think it's just this little floating rock up in space. If they only knew, the significance of planet Earth, it's the most important planet in the entire multiverse.
When was that formed? To say that it was going to be here, where it was going to take the precipice of the big change?
From the beginning of time.
It was determined.
It was determined. Yeah, everything's following some sort of a cosmic blueprint.
So people that have no idea about all of this, what happens to them? I mean, do they instantly say, oh, I see what's happening?
Well, when we hit critical mass, once, the great awakening takes place, even the normies, the so-called, those that are still programmed, or the so-called sleepy masses, are going to have an opportunity to know the truth. And unfortunately, to some, due to their heavy programming, it will come as a shock.
It'll come as a shock, but they'll still get the information.
Oh yeah, they will.
I think going back to what you said about there's so much chaos happening, I think that ties into her question of everything negative that's happening is to wake the other people up, and no one's gonna move into an awakening state and do their part and understand the truth if we don't have to face this collective shadow. And the collective shadow is basically, I feel like, being projected in society right now, within politics and everything. It's just a projection of, this work that we need to do. And so it's going to, I feel like, trigger the second great awakening. And then we're all in this training phase to take their hands and be like, we're ready for you.
What if we were the chosen ones? Why did we fall into descend into such madness? Why did we chose it?
Because we're the ground crew. We're the celestials in human form. That's how we infiltrate worlds, by the way. We don't do it externally through, spaceships and abductions. We do it by taking their physical form and being one of them. And then, of course, remembering our mission.
So it has to get crazy like this to awaken more people.
Oh yeah, the crazier it gets, the more of the awakening. It'll trigger more awakening in masses. So that's why things are still going to escalate, but again, it's going to get to the point where it's going to hit like a climatic moment, similar to like when the tea is buzzing, you know, it's ready to go, right? When you're cooking tea and it's already like hot, it's like the pressure, right? It's already there. It's going to hit that pressure point.
And when he was talking about like the singularity and coming to the middle, it's about, like for me at least, transcending duality. So understanding that all of this is for the greater good, even though it's really difficult. That's like, I feel like my mission right now is to even see like how the darkness happening in the external world is actually beneficial. And that's when you can kind of get out of the, what's going to happen and what, you know, you have to be like, it's happening for us, not to us.
Right. Yes, thank you. Well said.
Thank you. So I have another question that's kind of going off page, but do you know the soul of Nostradamus, as in that we know of the name of Nostradamus? Is the soul reincarnated now? And in what wave has he come in, or the soul?
Well, first of all, Nostradamus, just like all the sages and seers and prophets of the past, those who have had the direct connection to God, Ezekiel, Isaiah, all of those, Moses, they're actually drawing information. How can I say it? They're embodying the archetypes. You know, they're taking conscious or information from the archetypes and they're bringing it down, and they're being used as instruments to kind of help in the 3D world. So as far as like his spirit reincarnating, it's like saying, it's like saying like the spirit of Jesus is reincarnating. You know, it's not just coming in one person. It's an expression of an archetype. So in that regard, yes, there are many seers now, like Nostradamus, who have those gifts. There are many people like Jesus that are here with those gifts. You know, the second coming is not just one person or one individual. It's a collective. It's a collective of millions becoming like, yeah, exactly, becoming that clear channel for the archetypes. So.
Well, why has it been such a prominent figure in our history of Nostradamus and his predictions and everything? What was the purpose of having those predictions? Was it just happenstance, or was that part of the process of what we're all going through?
He was instrumental, you know. Nostradamus predicted many things that actually came to pass.
Right.
So he obviously had the gifts, just like all the other sages.
Okay.
So he did his part, you know, just like Edgar Cayce did his part, right? The sleeping prophet. And just like the many beings that are here in human form who don't even know how powerful they are doing their part.
Yeah. I'm just curious because for the last couple of months, my team has really been getting at me on that level, and I thought, I don't know if somebody's just waking up inside me, or was there a message that I wasn't getting in the fuller picture? So thank you.
You're welcome. And just remember, guys, we're all sleeping giants, gods and goddesses. We all have that wizard ability. We all have that. You know, we're all ascended beings, forgetting that we are that great. And so we are going to be the disclosure, guys. We don't need outside help. Go ahead.
Are there things that get put in our way as distractions?
Always, yes.
Like from the other team?
Exactly.
Like we want to mess with this girl, so we're going to put this thing in her way.
Yes, that is the role that is being played out by the NPCs, the soulless clones, that are consisting of most of, I guess, a little over 30% of the human population. So yes, they are among us. We go to a city mall, we go to a bus station, I guarantee you there's going to be NPCs around.
How do you identify them?
They don't have an aura. They have no soul because they don't have an energetic signature emanating from them as to, you know, the energetic signature that comes from all living beings. So if you can't sense a vibration, if you sense coldness, you know, nothing inside the shell, then you know it's just a program from the AI system. Go ahead.
So I have constantly asking God, who am I? Am I going to get the answer to that question?
Now the answer is within you. It's within you. Only your higher self knows who you are.
Not if my higher self would talk to me.
You could. It all starts with establishing a clear line of communication with God every day. And it doesn't have to just be when you get up in the morning, before you bless your food, before you go to sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, there was times where I would have constant dialogue throughout the day as I was driving from place to place in my hermit mode before I came out to the public. 4 or 5 hours a day throughout the day, and everything I did, whether I was walking my dog, watering my plants, washing dishes, I was in constant communication with God. And the more you establish that, the more powerful you become and protected as a divine sovereign. Go ahead.
Yes, I just found out you're here today, but I was listening to your interview with Nicholas Benaiman.
Benaiman,
I always mispronounce his name. And so thanks. But you were talking about the chakras in relation to the solar surge and flare.
Sure. So in the book of
Expound on
Revelations,
that a little bit.
we hear about the 7 seals, the 7 churches. That's a metaphor describing the 7 chakras. When John the Revelator wrote the book of the Apocalypse, he was writing it in metaphor form for only those who had inner vision to understand, to figure out what he meant to say. And so the 7 seals of Revelation, when he says at the end of the cycle, when the 7 seals and the 7 churches become opened, that's when the light of the Christ, or the light of the Christ, will once again dwell within men. And that's what the chakras are. The chakras are the 7 seals. When they collapse into the singular light, that's when you and your higher self become one. You and your divine self merge into one. There is no more disconnection. Go ahead. In your next. Go ahead.
I guess another question about traps too. So if the moon, say the moon is a satellite that was placed there to be part of the Saturn matrix, the whole thing. So would witchcraft be one of the traps that would calling in that energy is maybe not the best thing for us, because if it's artificial put in place by people that don't, or beings that don't mean well for us, probably shouldn't be calling in their energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you shouldn't be calling in energy from anything other than yourself. And that's the difference between those that are into natural magic and those that are using, ritualistic magic through things and potions and stuff like that. Natural magic is more divine, more natural. It's just you controlling the force field around you. Yeah.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, natural magic is divine. It's more natural.
No, I'm going back to the 7 seals, the 7 churches.
Oh, yeah, the 7 seals, the 7 churches are the 7 chakras in the book of Revelation. And we have time for 2 more questions. Go ahead, Jim.
So, I've been reading the book, and I've seen a couple of the interviews, but I wanted to see, and I missed the lecture because I was trying to get here, but I missed it. I wanted to see if you could shed a little bit more light on the Melchizedek order.
Absolutely.
I've been hearing that a lot.
Okay, so the original order of the ancient Brotherhood and Sisterhood of Light goes by the emerald of the Melchizedek cloister. And that order has always been associated with those that are the divine descendants of the seraphim, of the ancient guardians, particularly those of the line of Michael, the archangel. So in our world, we can see the ancient Melchizedek Emerald Order through the bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. What we call the Holy Grail. And so that's what the ancient order of Melchizedek is. It has a lot to do with divine birthright, and it also has a lot to do with the establishment of the divine administration here on the earth, as represented on all levels of reality.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
So archangels, the Bible mentions a couple, and then Enoch. How did we get all the names of all of the other angels?
Well, again, the angels are representatives or expressions of the 12 archetypes. So we have Michael, we have Rahal, Raphael, we have Tzadkiel, they all end with El. But they're all representing one of the 12 fragments of that first, the second part of the division from the 1 to 3, from the 3 to the 7, from the 7 to the 12. So we're not like at the end of that. We descended from that original division. Does that make sense? So in other words, the archangels are also within you. Yes, they exist within you, they're part of your heritage, in other words.
Yeah, it makes sense why there's such a connection there.
Yeah. Most people think that they're external. They're not. You know, it's all internal. Go ahead.
Do you believe that there is also like they're reincarnated, like all of these beings from the past are all walking the earth right now?
Absolutely, yes. They have returned in human form, guys.
And maybe they don't know it.
Yeah,
Maybe they don't know. They don't know.
Are they children?
Oh.
Do you think they're
Yeah, they could just be, they could be you.
Yeah, it could be you. I want to reveal something. Okay, I want to reveal something that I've never revealed before. In any lecture or anything, I'm going to reveal something, and just take this as you can. You know, just sit with it. The 12 archetypes: Michael, Raphael, Rahal, Sakiel, Mackenzie, Marija, all of those. They're all here in human form. They're all here in human form.
Are they aware?
Absolutely. They know who they are. Oh yeah, they are doing things in multiple dimensions while pretending to be human. That's all I can say. Oh, no, they come from the 13th dimension and up. Yeah, they're above the 12th dimension.
Are you one of them?
He's one of them.
Am I one of them?
Yeah, we don't have to kill you.
Archangel Michael, right there.
Michael? Well, that's a compliment. That's a compliment. But no, I'm just Ishmael. I'm just here to deliver the
Stop
message.
it. Okay, Israel is a bigger deal than Michael. So do you know any of them here?
I have connections with a few, yes. They're already setting up the New Earth Council, you could say. That's what I'm asking.
Jason's secure?
Jesus is
No,
here.
Jason's secure. Jason,
Shurka, okay.
yeah, is he?
Is he one of them?
Yeah.
I can't reveal it. Well, Jesus is here in all of us.
Right.
Again, don't expect the second coming from the
Right.
sky. You guys are all the embodiment of the Christ. Remember that.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
Jesus is in the, I said the Trump family, Princess Diana and Kennedy.
They're part of the same bloodline, yes. The Kennedys, Diana, the Trumps, the Lincolns, the Kennedys, they're all part of the same lineage that goes back to Jesus, yes.
That's why they keep trying to kill him.
That's, yeah, throughout history, think about it. There's always been a hit on that bloodline because they're scared, you know.
Have the Lions been in contact with you at all? Like
The Lions from Lyra?
The White Hats, you know.
Oh, half the White House? I think they said the Lions. I was like,
The
yeah, the Lions are
Lions.
always with me.
No, just like the White Hats as we know as, you know, the high military rank that's helping move everything along on this plane.
Mhm.
Have they been in contact with you in any way?
Yes and no. Again, we're dealing with multi-dimensions.
Yes.
So you could say that in that regard, yes, you know, the White Hats are working under me.
Mhm.
But in the regard that as a personal, like me and you are talking right now, no, we're not allowed to do that.
Okay.
But who are the White Hats? I mean, we mentioned the military here, but who are they?
Well, they're the good guys. They are an alliance. They're called the New Earth Alliance. They're the opposite of the New World Order. They're the opposite of this totalitarian system that the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds have been building.
Mm-hmm.
So they're opponents. Again, you know. Go ahead.
So do you think the White Hats could have been like inserted into certain programs like the Cabal, like the military, and then all of a sudden they became activated to their divine mission? That they were
Yes.
like on the inside so they have
Oh,
a
yes.
pull?
Yes, because a good portion of the White Hats,
Yes.
guess what, came out of the Cabal back in the 50s and 60s.
Really?
Yes, a good portion of the White Hats defected against the agenda.
You said they were the New World Alliance.
The New World, no, those are the good guys. The New World Order is the bad guys.
No, I know, so the New World Alliance are the White Hats.
The New World Alliance.
Came out of the
Okay,
ball.
what about
No, I felt like
What about who?
Hitler?
What about Hitler?
What about his story? Was he a bad guy or?
What's the real story?
We've been lied to all our lives.
Well,
Yeah,
the Nazis were in alliance with an alien group known as the Nordics. They came from Aldebaran. That's when they used, it was during the times where the Viral Society, which is an extension of the Thule, again, a German secret society, where they were already creating first contact and channeling these Aldebaranians. And that's how they inherited the tech, the advanced tech that allowed Hitler to build the spacecraft and to create his own, breakaway group. But yes, not only that, but the Hitler, the Nazis were also working with the Draconians, because at the galactic level,
of reality, they had one thing in common. You know, the Draconians wanted to bring a galactic empire, and Hitler wanted to take over the world. So they kind of resonated with each other, and they created an alliance as well.
So did they know that Earth was going to be this hub of?
Oh yes, every being knows that.
That's why they wanted to take this place over and take the world over, as how important Earth is to the cosmos.
Absolutely. But there's many races that are trying to do that, guys. Not just the Dracos. There are many races that are trying to mess with Earth's natural organic evolution, and they're trying to harvest our DNA. So that's why we have to be careful. You know, whenever you guys feel like you guys are feeling that paralysis, right? You say, I don't consent, because when they paralyze your body when you're asleep, that's because they're trying to abduct you. So you guys have to be careful.
I have a question. This is very nice that we're here all together talking about all these things, listening to you. But I'm on my own. Like in my house, nobody understands because I'm the different one. What do you recommend to have like a community, or I don't know, not to feel like the way I do?
What do I recommend?
Yeah.
To attend more, events like this, perhaps. I don't know. I would honestly start networking with all these, because all these people are your people. These are your real family. You know, I was the black sheep in my family too, and I come from a big family, and they're all asleep. So I know exactly that feeling. Sometimes we feel like we're alone. You know, like we don't fit in with anyone. But we're out there, spread out geographically in little pockets. And eventually we're all going to link up together and be an unstoppable force of light warriors, you know, bringing in a better world. But yeah, I would start networking with people. I mean, if I were you guys, I would exchange numbers, emails, and say, hey, you know, let's just all be friends.
Hey, do we have a group here? Become a part of?
You can start one on that meetup group. Pardon? You can start one on meetup group.
Oh, I'm not gonna start. I gotta find something.
Who's down to manage it?
I can start it for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, go ahead, sir. We'll probably have time for maybe 2 more questions.
This is an easy one. How close do you think we are to that critical mass?
I hate putting dates.
Not a date, just
things
like
are always
maybe a
fluctuating.
percentage.
I would say within probably it's definitely going to happen within years. Nothing beyond a decade. Nothing beyond a decade. That's all I'm going to say. I know it's hard, but it could also happen next year or at the end of this year, you know. And a lot of it has to do with the astrological and planetary alignments, guys. Because believe it or not, the alignments of stars truly affect what happens on this Earth, due through energetic resonance as well. So right now we're still currently under the age of Pisces, but I believe that according to the alignments in March of next year, we're going to be aligned with Aquarius, which means the end of the Cabal and the rise of the new era.
Yes.
March what?
I'm sorry?
Is there a specific date? March what?
Oh no, I don't know the date. I'm just going based on, you know, the astrological alignment of Earth and the stars and so on.
She must say.
I just heard in one video that you had about when all of it happens and the weather, so I was wondering, I remember you said it would be like tropical everywhere, and I'm like, how did that be?
Well, yes, because at one point, you know, in Atlantis, we were tropical year-round. You know, this whole wall and this moon matrix with Saturn was designed to keep, I guess, to throw us out of that state of that perfect weather year-round.
And then when you go backwards to 30, was it instant after that?
Oh no, it's instant. Once we undergo the transformation process, which is on its way, you know, we're already mutating at cellular level. Our bodies are going to literally regress age all the way back to 30.
Will you just become our higher selves?
Yes, your higher. Exactly.
Of our higher
Yeah,
selves?
you're spiritualizing matter. You're bringing in these other aspects of yourselves and you're collapsing them into, you know, physical. And that's how your body will become naturally looking younger, and you won't no longer have the age.
Do we need to stay on your cosmic diet there? I would like to try that.
Well, that's totally up to you. I love superfoods, vitamins. I mean, I take liquid vitamin because it's faster absorption, you know. Yeah, a lot of raw stuff,
do you promote like a specific line, or do you juice it yourself, or how do you, if
Well, I go to places that are like certified, you know, raw living foods, where they're still living.
I'm almost afraid to buy online anymore, just because I understand there's so much
Farmers
garbage out
market.
there.
Yes, farmers market guys, stop
Our
supporting
farmers,
grocery
our
stores.
farmers need our help.
I just came from the farmer's market to here.
Imagine if enough of us just immediately, worldwide, all millions of us Starseeds, stop going to grocery stores. What would happen?
The game would be over and we'd win already.
Exactly. All those GMOs would be out of the question.
They would be done. I also heard if a big majority of us on the planet laughed at the same time, or all enjoyed, and they lose their feeding source.
They only feed off of our negative emotions of turmoil, suffering, depression. Remember, when we are vibrating with emotions of love, compassion, gratitude, we stop feeding, you know, the archon energies. You can't feed off us anymore, or the AIs.
I'll say something about the food. So I've been a medical massage therapist for 21 years, and so I have a lot of clientele that are on all different levels. So it really just depends on your journey and your moment, because some people might be eating fast food every day, and they just need to scale back, and that's their journey in the moment. But if you try to do something really quick, you're gonna fall off it. So you gotta, wherever you are in your moment, you just gotta, I follow medical medium, I don't know if anyone, so what I learned about his process is add 3 things and subtract three things at a time. And once that becomes your normal realm, you've added the 3 and you subtract the 3, then you proceed and move forward. And that's the easier journey to just change your lifestyle on, I mean, we're all awakening, right? So food is this really big source for us because we're feeling different things every day. Structurally, you know, mentally, emotionally, and you know, yesterday this worked for you, and then the next day you have indigestion. You're thinking, what the heck is going on? So it's a hard question to answer because everyone's on their own journey, and we all have this path that we're on, and you gotta feel what resonates with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Listen to your body, guys. Listen to your body. Your body's a living organism. Last question. Go ahead. You'll be next.
And that even has to do with your why. Okay. So I just went through breast cancer, and they put me on this drug that hurt me so bad. And I get it. Sure. Anyways, and so I just went on this question myself. My cancer doctor telling me, well, cancer's gonna die, you're gonna die. I told every believer. But anyway, so how would I, what could, it was the estrogen blocker that was causing me all this pain. So.
That was probably due to the medication that they put you on.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, all that stuff, again, all the cures are natural medicine. So if you guys are battling a terminal illness, you don't even see a medical doctor.
I'm trying to find a natural medicine. And I know.
There is a tea that actually heals, it activates the healing process of your body.
What is that?
It's called God's Healing Herb. God's Healing Tea. It's expensive. It's about $80 a gallon. And I have read testimonies about how people with stage 4 cancer have recovered from that. Tumors, you know, different things.
What is it?
It's called God's Healing Tea.
Where do you get it from?
You either order it from, I guess they have an office in Florida and then one in Los Angeles, but it's rare.
But what, you just look up God's Healing Tea?
That's it.
You can also look at really high alkaline foods because we have a natural pH balance. So like Dr. Sebi,
keep your body alkaline.
Yeah, like Dr. Sebi was
that's what
mysteriously disappeared after curing his 13th AIDS patient. And he was in one of the holistic wave of murders, you know. So, and you just look at a pH chart of different food, and you'll see it, and it's high pH like lemon, lime, watermelon, cucumber.
What about lemon too?
You know, so.
All you have to do is go on Pinterest and search alkaline diet.
Yeah,
you'll
find your way.
Thank you, brother. So true.
My question is, can you tell us a little about the classes you offer for the courses?
Sure.
And then like how many times a week and the time?
All right, so I'm booked till February. I think I might have a few spots left.
In the astrology star cosmology course, I give you an in-depth, in chronological form, the whole history of the cosmos. We talk about dimensions. We talk about densities. We talk about multidimensionality. We talk about, we explore all 12 chakras and what they mean. And of course, we talk about the various starseed races. We talk about the different types of advanced civilizations depending on their level of their level of development, spiritually, culturally, and technologically. So yeah, it's just an in-depth class on like 20 years of research packed into 6 hours, 2 hours a day, once a week for 3 weeks. And then at the end, I open up for questions and answers. And then also after the third class, I teach you my techniques that have worked for me, that have allowed me to access the Akashic records for myself, information from other realms. The first technique is called Kriya Kundalini Yoga. And the next one was a technique that was actually taught to me by no other than Michael. We call him Michael. But Michael, you guys know him as Michael.
And this is happened like which day of the week? It's in the morning.
I believe it's Wednesday morning, Pacific time, 10 o'clock, or 4 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
And this is on your website, or?
Yeah, it's on my website. I give you
The link is from your Instagram page?
or that as well. Yeah, you can either access it through that or through my little bookmark right here. That has everything, all my things. Well, thank you guys for coming again. For those that didn't make it yesterday.
Oh, go ahead, you know what?